You came back. God pointed that way, so watch me run this way. Sprints the opposite direction, into a boat. There is no substitute for getting into the Word of God on your own. I am a line on a screen. The book is alive. Read it. This is one of the most famous stories in the Bible, and one of the most misunderstood. Everyone remembers the giant fish, but the fish is not the point. God gave the prophet Jonah a clear command. Go to the great city of Nineveh and warn them. And Jonah heard it perfectly, and ran as fast and as far as he could in the exact opposite direction, jumping on a boat to the ends of the earth. Why would a prophet run from God? Hold that question, because the answer, when it finally comes, is the most surprising and convicting twist in the whole book. This is Jonah, running from God. Here is the question Jonah raises, and you already know it from the inside. Why do we run from God? Because we do. There are things we hear from God clearly, a command, a conviction, a person we are supposed to forgive, a step we are supposed to take, and we sprint in the other direction. Not because we did not understand, because we did not want to obey. And Jonah is about to discover what we all discover. You cannot actually outrun God. There is no direction that is truly away from him. Everywhere Jonah turns, the storm follows. But the deepest question in the book is not just why Jonah ran. It is what he was running from. Because his reason is not what you would guess. And when it finally comes out, it holds up a mirror to your own heart. Let me show you the story. A violent storm slams the boat, and the terrified sailors figure out that Jonah, running from God, is the cause. Jonah tells them to throw him overboard. They do. The sea goes calm, and a great fish swallows him whole. And there, in the dark belly of the fish, at the bottom of everything, Jonah finally prays. He says, "Salvation comes from the Lord." And the fish spits him out onto dry land. Even Jonah's rebellion gets met with a second chance. So Jonah goes to Nineveh, a huge, violent, wicked city, the capital of Israel's worst enemy, and preaches the shortest, bluntest sermon imaginable. And the unthinkable happens. The entire city repents. Top to bottom, they turn from their evil. And God, seeing it, relents and spares them. And now comes the twist that makes this book unforgettable. Jonah, the prophet, is not happy. He is furious. He storms off to sulk. And finally, the real reason he ran in the first place comes pouring out. "I knew it. I knew you were a gracious and compassionate God, slow to anger, abounding in love, and that is exactly why I ran." Jonah did not run because he was afraid. He ran because he was afraid God would forgive his enemies. He wanted Nineveh destroyed, and he could not stand that God might show them mercy. So God grows a leafy plant to shade Jonah, then lets it die. And Jonah is more upset about the dead plant than about an entire city of people. And God ends the book with a question he leaves hanging in the air. You cared about a plant. You did nothing to grow. Should I not care about a great city full of people who are lost? And the book just stops there, on that question, waiting for an answer. Here is the turn, and Jonah holds up a mirror that is uncomfortable to look into. God's mercy is bigger than your list of who deserves it. Because every one of us has a Nineveh, a person, a group, an enemy we secretly do not want God to bless. We are glad for grace when it comes to us, and quietly furious at the idea of it reaching them.
That was Jonah's whole problem. He was not afraid of God. He was offended by God's compassion. He had a list of who deserved mercy, and Nineveh was not on it. And God's grace ran right past the edge of Jonah's list and saved them anyway. The real scandal of this book is not the prophet or the fish. It is a God so merciful that he loves the very people we cannot stand. His compassion does not stop where our list stops. And if that bothers you, remember this: you are on somebody else's list too. The same mercy that scandalizes you is the mercy that saves you. Let the list go. There is a thread, and Jesus himself drew it for us. When people demanded a sign from Jesus, he said, "The only sign you will get is the sign of Jonah. As Jonah was 3 days and 3 nights in the belly of the great fish, so the Son of Man will be 3 days and 3 nights in the heart of the earth." Do you see it? Jonah went down into the dark, into the deep, into 3 days of death-like darkness, and came out to bring a warning to his enemies. He did it reluctantly, resentfully, barely. Jesus went down into the dark on purpose, into the cross, into the grave, 3 days in the heart of the earth, willingly, lovingly, not to warn his enemies, but to die for them, to purchase the very mercy Jonah resented. Jonah could not stand that God would forgive his enemies. Jesus went into the deep precisely so that God could forgive his. He is the true and greater Jonah, the one who dove into death itself for the Ninevees of the world. And you were one of them. That is the thread. Jonah, 4 short chapters, one of the most surprising books in the Bible. And it is not really about a fish. It is about the size of God's mercy and the smallness of ours. Read it tonight. It is quick. Read chapter 2, Jonah's prayer from the belly of the fish. Salvation comes from the Lord. Read it from your own dark place. Read chapter 4, the angry prophet, the plant, and God's final question. Sit in that question. Should I not care about all those people? And notice the book never records Jonah's answer, because the answer is left for you. Here is the gut check. Who is your Nineveh? Who do you secretly not want God to bless? Bring that name to mind, and then remember that God's mercy is bigger than your list, and that Jesus went down into the dark to save the very enemies you did write off. You were on someone's list too, and mercy came for you anyway. So let the list go. Here, read it. I will see you in the next one.